man, I want to be able to relax into my feminine role and not have to worry about leading. So you bring down the men first, and then bring down the men, use the women as their weakness, get the women to go against men, and you will destroy society, and therefore society is easier to control.
So you have government and corporations are aiding and abetting all this, keep young fellas sitting on the couch for as long as possible. I think a housewife and a mother rearing children is a full-time job. And I think if you're chasing a career, that's a full-time job. Mm-hmm. You can't do the both of them with 100% on both sides. So it went from one extreme to where they have all these rights now that they have too many rights.
So what we see today a lot of is we see women displaying more masculine energy versus their own feminine energy. They're not tapping into their feminine energy.
They're going extreme. There's fellas wearing makeup and face cream. Like in my day, that never happened. They're going too far with it.
It's just like you literally are masturbating inside somebody else just to get off your own pleasure and go away.
Yeah. Alpha male is not the male who comes in and says like, hey guys, I'm here. I'm the alpha. I'm going to take over the party. No, he just comes in and like the energy comes with him and everybody understands. Who can understand still, who are not bio-robots yet. That's real men. That's masculine energy. Because of all the gadgets and everything, people losing their senses. They have no intuition. They can't receive those energies to understand who is who. Hello, my friend, and welcome back. Today we would like to chat about 21st century's men and women, why men are so feminized and why girls are so dominant. And I have two guests with me, Aoife.
Hello.
And Michal.
Hello.
Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me. So, where do we start? We have to kind of figure out, is it a good thing that women becoming so dominant and men are so feminized, or it's not a good thing? Aoife, let's start with you because I know you was discovering and researching this subject for a long time. So
for me, no, it's not a good thing. I started coming into this area of things. I think I started really noticing this kind of thing in the last 4 years. I don't know how it came about. I actually don't know. I don't actually know how it even came about in the first place. But somehow I just happened to come into this information, and from then on, I see it. I'm just pointing it out every day wherever I go, in the streets, when I meet guys today, whether they're my male friends, I'm not shaming male friends, they're amazing, or whether they're I'm just saying in general guys that I meet on a day-to-day basis, I just see how different they are versus when I look at, we'll say my parents' generation or my grandparents and their brothers, their fathers, their friends. It's just so different, and it's the same with the women. Women are just so different today, physically, emotionally, mentally. Everything is just so different, and I don't think it's doing the world any favors at all. I think there can be positives to the whole thing, but honest to God, I think mostly it's negative, and that's why we have so many modern day problems in relationships, is because of the demasculization of men and the defeminization of women.
Do you feel the same, Michal?
I would agree with that, yeah.
But okay, let's go to the point where is it a good thing or bad thing? Let's start from the feminism. Was the feminism movement good in any way in your head?
I wouldn't be a man that's well read on feminist movements, but I just know the general gist of it. It's not a good thing, no. I think it puts awful pressure on younger women. Like I was saying there, we were talking there briefly at the start. I don't want to be old-fashioned, but I think having two teenage daughters growing up myself, they're expected to walk into this role where they have a career, they get to the top of their career, but they're also expected to be a housewife and a mother. And I think a housewife and a mother rearing children is a full-time job. And I think if you're chasing a career, that's a full-time job.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do the both of them with 100% on both sides.
No.
I think it's just putting extra pressure on women.
Mm-hmm.
That's my opinion.
So would you agree, like in the reality, when the feminism started, instead of gaining some voice, so the woman would be same rights as or treated same as the men, gave them any favor? When I see it's actually not giving them any favor, because the men are feminized and men are not in the role which they supposed to be.
Yeah, if we just took that back a bit, it went from one extreme to the other. In Ireland, we'll say 50 years ago, 40 years ago, women were treated poorly. They had no aid, or they had no help.
Mm-hmm.
If they were in a bad situation in the house domestically, they had nowhere to go.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't really, there wasn't a lot of jobs for them. If they were working and they got a job, they had to give up their job if they were getting married. So it went from one extreme to where they have all these rights. Now that they have too many rights, it's like they're falling into a hole. Does that make sense? My own mother, when she got married at 26, she was working as a civil servant, and in 1975 she had to give up her job if she was getting married. So it's gone from one extreme to the other extreme. So the feminist movement, maybe at the very early days, women were not being treated equally. The vote, for example, I'm not sure when the vote came in, but I think that only came in around the late 70s in this country. So women weren't being treated equally, but now it's gone the full circle now, and it's gone too far.
So what I noticed was, what you said was, they have too many rights. So I don't think anyone can have too many rights.
No, sorry, I didn't say they have too many rights. I said it went from one extreme to the other extreme.
Yeah. No, I know that's not what you meant. I know that. But I just want to clarify on that. So basically, it's so great. Like, as humans, we should have all human rights. But I think now they've kind of pulled random rights from thin air, and they've put them into laws. You know, now women can do this, now women can do that. Like, I mean, you have the whole thing of abortion, you have the whole thing of, I mean, it's going, they're all very controversial topics, but you have abortion, you have gay marriage, you have transgender thing, you have, you can have, if you change your sex and you're with another partner who changed their sex, you can still somehow have a child. And is that the right thing to do? That's another right that we have today, which could be argued on a moral basis, or whatever you want to, some people believe in morals, some people don't. So everything we speak about today is going to be very controversial, and it's going to tie into a lot of different belief systems, because everybody has a different belief system. But there's people all over the world in all different kinds of beliefs who think that something is going on here, that men are not the same as they were before. We'll say 1950s and before, and women are not the same as they were before 1950s and before, and the relationship between men and women is completely different, and how they relate to each other, how they react to each other, how they treat each other, how they court each other today is completely different. And what one sex expects from the other sex is completely different today than what it was before. What is tolerated or not tolerated today is completely different to what was before. So like you were saying before there, I completely agree that like back in the day, women, you know, they had not really much rights. They had kind of tough lives. What you said to me really stood out when you said about the fact that, you know, if they were in like a violent or abusive relationship, I mean, they were kind of stuck in it, you know. And those things were like, there was no help for women in many different situations, and that's just so heartbreaking. But now, as you said, yeah, it's completely gone to another extreme. Although I still do think that there is still a lot of violence, and there's still a lot of things that are not being solved today. Even though we live in this modern progressive world, there's still loads of things that are not being solved at all. Like still violence against women is going on, even violence against men to men violence is even higher than violence from men to women, you know. That's still ongoing, that's still very high, and that's very, very bad, and that's still not being fully addressed. And then there's the whole thing of the mental health and suicide and this and that and the other. Like, we live in this progressive world, but I don't see much good coming out of this progressive world at all. I really don't.
Just like I will ask you now then, why you think it's not good?
So I think,
I know you were studying a lot and you was researching a lot about the feminine and masculine energies and stuff like that. I know guys would be like kind of, oh my god, they're talking about the energies, whatever, but it's very important, and I know you were studying a lot, so can you tune us in a little bit about that?
Yeah, so basically you have healthy masculine and healthy feminine energies, and then you have wounded or shadow masculine energies and wounded or shadow feminine energies. So basically, characteristic wise, men and women have, we'll say, the yin and yang of like their sex character energies with both sexes. So with women, for example, the positive, natural feminine energies that we would have biologically and mentally, spiritually, everything would be like, we are very received, we can be receiving, nurturing, intuitive, we have a lot of depth, we can be very surrendering, we have a lot of flow, but then we can do multitasking, you know, we're just very nurturing and loving, caring. And men then, their good characteristics can be that they're giving, they can be providing, they are very good at logic, they have good structure, they're good to make decisions, they're very assertive, they can be very disciplined, and they can discipline really well, and they can be great role models. So those are like the healthy energies that men and women naturally are supposed to have, you know. But then you also have the kind of destructive energies that men and women have as well, especially if they grew up in a toxic environment or they have traumas that happened to them when they were younger. This affects then their natural masculine, feminine energies and how they use that. So what we see today a lot of is we see women displaying more masculine energy versus their own feminine energy. They're not tapping into their feminine energy, who they are. We're women, we should be connecting with our femininity. I can't even say it. And men should be tapping into and connecting with their masculinity. You know, in order to be masculine, to be a man, you really need to connect with who you are biologically, what that means for you, and connect with that inner core that you have, that you were born with. Same with women. But today we see women are displaying a lot of wounded masculine energy, like bad masculine energy traits, and men we see today are displaying a lot of wounded feminine traits. So it's not that men are becoming positively more like women in a positive way and women are becoming more like men in a positive way. It's become the very opposite. You know, this whole thing of this culture of shaming a man, like this toxic masculinity thing, like, there's nothing wrong with being a man. Being a man is the most important thing that we need right now. We need leaders. We need healthy leaders. What's destructive is when a man is being toxic masculinity is when a man is not really tapped in with his positive, healthy, masculine energies. You know, like a man who's controlling, abusive, violent, unnecessarily, like all these kind of energies. that's toxic masculinity. Toxic masculinity is not holding a door open for a woman. It's not paying for her. It's providing for her is not toxic.
Okay, like if don't you feel like it's like pushed so hard, like it's on the mass media, it's all propaganda that machos being very rude, aggressive, sometimes even like physical and stuff like that, like people are manipulated to change their perspective of what actually means alpha male. Miho, what do you say about that? Like, how you feel like?
As regards an alpha male, I suppose he'd be a leader amongst men. And the captain of the football team, we'll say, just to make it simple. As regards men, I honestly think that social media has an awful lot to do with all this over the last 15 years.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, even my late teens, early 20s, going out as a single man, we'll say nightclubbing a long time ago. We didn't gel our hair or brush our hair, or you know, we didn't really iron our shirts all that much. I mean, we just went out, you know. Whereas I see the young fellas nowadays, 19, 20, up to 25, if they're going out, they're spending as much time on their hair as the girls were doing when I was younger. Their clothes, they're wearing clothes that are, you know, they're immaculate, like, you know. They're gone all into their clothes and their image. And I think that social media has a lot to do with that. And then I think social media has it has put men into this box where they have to do, you know, they're going extreme. There's fellas wearing makeup and face cream, like in my day that never happened. They're going too far with it, you know, it's going to the extreme again. Plus then to go further into that, you could have a young man that got married and it didn't work out. So in today's world, I don't want to sound small-minded about it, but there's a lot of men basically living in skid rows, they'd say in America, you know, because they got divorced and they find that they're no use to society anymore. They pay their few pound maintenance, they pay their rent, and they don't get to see their children, and they're kind of living on their own, and they just drink alcohol. There's a system there that keeps older men down. I think that's getting more common in this country. If you understand where I'm going with that.
It's coming more common, not just in this country, but like what you reckon, like why it's done? Like I obviously kind of know why it's done, but like I want to hear it from the point of view of the men, single men who doesn't agree with all this bullshit what's going on around.
Yeah, I don't know why it's done, because it's the law, but it's making men feel that there's no place in them for society. Society is no place for men. It's very hard to explain it now because I don't read up on all this, but you'd have a lot of young men staying at home living with their parents, which has never happened before.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, again, you were 18, 19, the first thing you wanted was your own house, your own apartment, your own whatever. You wanted out of away from the parents. Now they seem to be heading for 30 years of age and quite happy to be at home with the parents. Are they afraid of the women? Do they find the women domineering? I don't know. I'm not that age, but that's another age group of men that are in trouble. Small percentage wise.
Yeah, obviously the agenda is to make men be afraid of women. That's why there are all those laws coming in, like sexual abuse and stuff like that. Like even me, like when I was 18, 20 years old in my country, it was perfectly okay if your colleague like slaps your arse or something. It was just something fun. But now it's made as a crime.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I understand, like men are afraid to approach a girl with any kind of...
Sorry, it's not even that that men are afraid, but men are taking on this mentality that it's not worth it. Why bother with them? It's the mentality they're taking in. It's not.
Yeah.
They're afraid. Maybe might be the wrong word, but they're kind of saying to themselves, "Why bother?" I'd say if you spoke to family law solicitors today. I spoke earlier about a woman that might be married back in the 50s and she had nowhere to go if she was in a toxic relationship. Well, today you have a lot of false allegations against men in these relationships. It's very easy for a woman to say, he came in from work roaring and shouting, and all of a sudden she's got a barring order, and all of a sudden he's gone. And that's might sound stupid, but that is actually the way it works. So you have a lot of men saying, I'm not going to bother. Why bother with that hassle?
Yeah. But you have some point of view why it's done. What's the agenda? Why they?
Well, you see, it's a very small minority, but it does happen.
But it's pushed very hard. So, like, I know if you have some ideas, not ideas, but points of view why it's being done.
So men throughout the ages have always been the natural leaders of society, as in men are natural born leaders. Now, as a woman, I would say I was born a natural born leader, right? But when I'm with a man, I want to be able to relax into my feminine role and not have to worry about leading. I don't want to worry about that when I'm with a man. I want to be able to be myself, be a woman, and let the man take over and let him lead. So throughout the ages, hundreds, thousands of years ago, men have always been the natural leaders. They've been physically stronger, they've been the more logic thinkers, therefore they were much better to lead wars and lead a country and create a plan of action for different things. Men are just naturally more logical. So I think what I see is clearly going on is they're really trying to destroy the men, because remember, men are the natural leaders. So you bring down the men first, and then bring down the men, use the women as their weakness, get the women to go against men, and you will destroy society, and therefore society is easier to control. You get distractions upon distractions. You distract men against women. You turn them against each other. We're fighting each other. We're blaming each other for this problem, that problem, and we can no longer see who the real enemy behind us is. What is actually going on here? If you want to divide a society, the best way to do it is to take down the men first. Definitely, because men are the natural leaders of society. If you want to rule society, you destroy the men first. You have to destroy the men first, then the women after.
Or break up the family unit.
Break up the family unit, yes. That's clearly what's going on today.
That's what they're doing,
yeah. Very much so, yeah. So, what I want to say there, what I heard you as well saying there, was you said, if a man came in roaring and shouting at a woman, that she would have a barring order. I have to say, I don't think this behaviour is acceptable. No man should come in roaring and shouting at a woman. But I don't think a woman should be roaring and shouting at a man either. I think, unfortunately, what's after going on is we have a society of disrespect. There is just disrespect left, right and centre. I think a man, naturally is more powerful and naturally just more aggressive. Of course, tendency naturally he goes that way. And again, that's all for if you go back generations ago, that's all for purposes of war and leading a country and fighting for women and children. A man should fight for women and children, should lead the way for women and children, men, and for their own brothers, for not just actual biological brothers, but for their other fellow men. Men should be looking after their own fellow men and also women and children. That's what I believe.
Eva, but you see, that's where we're going to the problem. Hundreds and thousands of years ago, nobody was fighting. The woman wasn't shouting at the man, or man wasn't coming home shouting.
Yeah.
That's where the problem starts.
Yeah.
It was never natural. Now it happens, but it's not natural, and it's made to happen, as you mentioned, because of all the confusion from the mass media, from all the confusion, who is the boss, who is supposed to be dominating, and literally wife and husband, they are confused when they are in that relationship, and they don't know, wife wants to take it over, and she is constantly brainwashed by the mass media that she's supposed to stand up for her rights and blah 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 and blah blah blah. When in the reality, if there would be a real alpha male, then she wouldn't have to stand up for any of her rights, because man would support her, protect her, and woman would protect in woman's way with the feminine energies hers men. There wouldn't be confusion if we wouldn't be confused and brainwashed with supposedly you have to act like this or this and you have this rights or that right. That's how people get confused, and that's why they are acting so weirdly.
Yeah. If you take away the natural masculine healthy role of a man and the natural healthy role of a feminine woman, therefore, when a man and a woman are in a relationship together and the woman has unhealthy feminine traits, the man has unhealthy masculine traits, the woman and the man will try to, therefore, make up for the lack of each other's unhealthy traits. So the woman will naturally start to adapt healthy masculine roles to make up for his lack of healthy masculinity, and the man will start to adapt to healthy feminine roles or characters or behaviors in order to make up for the lack of her healthy femininity. So this causes a huge destruction in the relationship, because that's not the natural law. That's not the natural law at all. There is a natural law. There is a biology, a natural law, the law of, I don't know what you want to call it, the universe, the law of whatever you want to call it. There's just a natural law. And natural law is that a man should be a man, a woman should be a woman, and we should be having, we should be in our, mostly, I do believe that women can carry masculine behaviors, energies, and men can carry feminine energies as well. But our dominating energy should be healthy feminine and healthy masculine. For the man, and for the woman, healthy feminine. And I think that's the problem is today I see women taking on the man roles because the men they might be with might not have any healthy man roles in certain areas, so the women take it on. And that's messing with the women's mind. And then the man does the same. The woman will lack a healthy feminine characteristic or behavior or role, and he will take it on to make up for the lack of what she lacks. And it's just going to cause so many, the battery, you have the plus and the minus. It's just going to make a negative. It's just not going to work. It's not going to work.
Miko, you have something to add to this?
I don't know where you would start. I suppose the relationship aspect of it is one thing. We're talking about feminists and masculine and all that. You also have, I'll give you another example of rearing a young fella today. I'm self-employed building contractor. My young fella is 13. So traditionally in the summer months I bring him to work for maybe 3 or 4 hours every morning for 3 or 4 days in a week, and he do a few jobs for me and work, doing an extension or building a house for someone. That's illegal now. I have to leave that young fella sitting on the couch until he's 16. It's against the law. My insurance won't cover it. Someone can report me. Do you understand? When I was growing up, when we were 9, 10, 11, 12, we worked with builders. We worked with farmers.
It's really illegal. You can't go.
It is illegal. Yeah, they have to be over 16.
That's crazy.
They have to be over 16 now. Even if I was a farmer at home and to bring a young fella down the farmyard, they have to be over 16. So the government has a role to play in this. And another example is, we say fixing the car. Okay, traditionally a lot of men in houses, they change the oil and they do the small jobs in the car. The way the cars are manufactured nowadays, you need to be a mechanic to change the bulb in the headlight, and when you go changing the oil, they're all done on computer. So you have government and corporations are aiding and abetting all this. Keep young fellas sitting on the couch for as long as possible.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Neither.
Yeah, you have to be over 16 to go working, yeah. Health and Safety Acts, and basically they're just not insured. But that's the government thing. And then, like I say about fixing the car with your father, that day is gone because your father can't fix it unless he's got a computer. You know, it has to be done in the main garage. So there's lots of things like that that are keeping young fellas at home sitting on the couch.
Then they're getting naturally depressed. They're getting depressed, and we're wondering why we have such a mental health crisis worldwide, not just in Ireland. It's massively in Ireland, but it's worldwide as well. And men are getting very emotionally depressed. And before that was never an issue as such, like, you know. But now it's a big thing, and you have to really wonder why. But we also have the decline of men's testosterone levels, which is a huge problem today. And then you have women lacking their natural estrogen levels as well, and then that's causing all kinds of hormone imbalances and problems with the brain and all different kinds of things as well. And we're just not as active as we were anymore. Like men, as you said, like from a young age, a man should be learning how to be responsible, how to be active, how to build things, how to use his hands. But as you just clearly showed, the government is trying to interfere again and stop this from happening from a young age and make them more useless.
Yeah, and plus that part of young men, we'll say sitting at home on the couch till they're 16, 17, 18 and longer, and depression. I think that the internet has a lot to do with that as well. I think a lot of young fellas now are looking at the internet and they're looking at all these perfect men with six packs and whatever, you know, good looking fellas, and they're spending a lot of time on their clothes and their hair, and it's not natural for men. I don't mean fellas should be going around with dirty fingernails and a smell of them, but there's a happy medium, you know. Men shouldn't be spending a half an hour fixing their hair to go for a pint, you know. And I think the social media has a lot to answer for, you know. They might be spending too much time. Young girls really have the same problem.
Oh yeah.
I think they're gone bananas with involved in sports with young girls from the age of 10, 11 up to 16, camogie and football, and the fake tan and the fingernails at 12 years of age. It's all a bit too. They're making themselves look older than what they are, and it's just a bit too soon for all that to be. In my opinion, I could be completely wrong. Now I know they're entitled to do whatever they want to do, but are they growing up too quick? And is the internet putting pressure on them? They think they have to look like X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually will say more, like, since I'm coming from Eastern Europe, in Ireland it's actually not that bad. Like in Ireland, like girls, they are dressing up, they're doing the nails and stuff like that when they're going out, which is fine, okay. But in my country, like the post USSR, the girls wouldn't even go to throw the bin out without the nails on, high heels, and the makeup on. That's how they are, just like about their appearance, not about being, and like it goes as well with the kind of masculine thing. Like the girls are very aggressive, kinda, rather to be like really feminine. Like as you Aoife mentioned before, like you should be going, like doing like some dance classes or something at least to be more feminine. How feminine movements and like feminine speech or wherever, it's all down to, as we know, like now most of the influencers, like I don't know all the names, even like Nicki Minaj or Kardashians or whatever, they are so dominant, but they are put there as role models, so all the girls wants to be like them without like there is the connection, as you Aoife said, like the connection to real feminine or masculine energies are totally cut off. And that's why I didn't want to start our chat with saying like this chat is going to be about feminine or masculine energies, because like I know people are so brainwashed, they straight away think like, oh my god, those clowns again with their fucking energies, blah 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 blah. because they don't even understand what that means anymore. They just see like, oh, I have to be like this, I have to be like this. This is the trend now. I have to follow trend, not to fall off the market, let's say, that kind of way. Like if you are not married, for example.
Energy is a real thing. I mean, science speaks about energy all the time. Matter, energy, like energy is energy. It's real, like, and you know, we all have energy. You know, we all energy is like what gives you life, what gives you, you know, spirit, whatever. But also, it kind of can throw off vibes to other people. Your energy can throw off vibes. It can, you know, I mean, people have intuitions for a reason, and you know, people can feel your vibe, your energy straight away when they meet you, and they can kind of tell a lot about you straight away. I mean, that's how we kind of form connections and relationships with people and friendships and whatever, is kind of by going off people's energies and vibes. You just have that natural thing. You can just feel someone's energy. It's a normal thing, you know. You can also change the word to characteristics, you know, and it's all psychological as well. It's science, it's psychology, it's biology, it's just much more than that. But another thing that's really going back to what we were saying about the social media, how it's affecting men and women, especially young generations of men and women today. It's not just the social media, it's not just the Geordie Shore, the Kardashians. What's really affecting the minds of young people today is the hypersexualization, which is, I know what you touched on as well when you said that women, the young girls, are starting to wear fake tan and fake nails at a young age, and it's starting to make them look older. And then you're giving into the whole thing of, this is where pedophiles come into the situation. Like, this is where we get into a society that is hypersexualized, which is exactly what's happening today. People care more about sex than they do about a real connection with someone. It's all about going from person to person, jumping from person to person to try to find the next best thing, which doesn't exist. Like it's all about sex. Society now today is driven by sex, but in an unhealthy way. Sex is meant to be such a beautiful thing that you express your emotions with someone through it. You know, you use it in a beautiful, spiritual, like physical way. But now it's not like that anymore. Now it's just like you literally are masturbating inside somebody else just to get off your own pleasure and go away, you know? And the problem, that's what porn is teaching everyone today. And this is the problem, is everyone is watching porn. Everybody's watching porn, they're coming on it, they're coming at the whole thing from a very young age. It's affecting their minds. It's like messing with your dopamine levels. It's creating all kinds of havoc in your brain development. Remember, it's kids who are opening these things from young ages on the internet. You don't even have to go on the internet. You go into the shop, you're going to see magazines with girls in these, like, magazines, you know, on these magazines with, like, all these kind of positions and clothes and suggestive poses. And, like, all little kids are seeing that from a young age. It's going into their unconscious, subconscious minds, and they're remembering it, and it's coming forward in different ways, and like that's really affecting the minds of young men and women, males and females, boys and girls, and they're taking it into later on in life as they get older. They remember these things, and we wonder, why are men treating women bad? Well, I wonder why. I mean, the brainwashing, the kind of subliminal messaging of the way they are displaying women to guys from a young age, or vice versa, because I hear girls all the time talk about men in very disrespectful ways as well. It's not just men talking about women. I hear women talking about men in very disrespectful ways as well. Like, oh, I'd love to, like, you know, hit that, get with him. Oh yeah, you know, it's just all very physical. It's not caring about their emotional needs. You don't care about their mind, body, soul, spirit. You just want them for their body. You just want to basically masturbate inside them, or whatever you want to do, and off you go to find the next person. And like, we've all been there, done that. Like, we've all experienced this kind of culture, you know. But like, it's wrong. It's just so sad, and it makes people very depressed, and it is messing with your brain. But porn is a big problem in bringing down real masculinity in men and real femininity in women. Porn is a huge tool being used right now. Huge tool. And it's wrecking the minds of young people. They cannot focus, cannot concentrate. They get addicted. Like, it's changing their brain makeup. It's just causing so many issues, and it's changing how we are treating one another. Like, we are watching porn to think this is what it's supposed to look like. No, it's not. Like, and then they think this is how we should be treating each other. Absolutely not. This is a huge problem as well. Just an over-sexualized culture. You have Love Island, like Geordie Shore, all this stuff, and it's just so shallow and it's just so superficial. Like, I was watching Love Island myself, don't get me wrong, like, I was watching it. But, like, at least when I'm watching it, I'm not like, oh, I'm gonna go out now and act like that, you know? Or I'm gonna go look for a guy who looks like that. Like, no, like, I'm watching because I find it very interesting just to observe human nature, human behavior, especially in today's generation. And I'm looking to see if they have any somewhat brain cells in them. But I find it entertaining, I can't lie. But at the same time, like, it's not affecting me in my life. It's not making me act like that or making me see men and women like that. You know, like, I want to start treating them like how I see them treating each other and, like, doing things like that. But we do live in such a hyper-sexualized society, and it is weakening. It's making men weak and women weak. Very weak, emotionally, very much so.
Actually, now I have the question for Michal. Like, I kind of know perspective of the very young guys when they see those all fake boobs, all the fake Love Island, and there is like Nicki Minaj coming into the pub, and they are like, they are kind of like, wow. But in reality, I know you are still like kind of old-fashioned man. Like, what would you say when you see all those fake half-naked girls coming into pub when you are just having your pint with your wife there?
If you saw the pub where I drink, there's none of those women coming into it. It's all old men. Obviously, any young man, you know, would look at a good-looking woman, you know. But
I'm not like, okay,
sorry,
interrupting you. That's why I ask you. I know the point of view of the young man. I'm asking of you, like real man, like old-fashioned man. What you see when you see all those dolls coming into the pub half naked?
Another expense. Another item that you couldn't afford. You'd feel sorry for some of them. Some of them, I see younger girls dressed up in clothes that they don't have the bodies for.
Yeah.
Does that make sense with you?
Yeah.
And I honestly, you'd say to yourself, because I have two daughters as well, you'd love to say to them, lads, you don't have to dress like that to get a fella.
Yeah.
If anything, the girls that can dress too much like that, they actually attract the wrong type of fella.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
The other thing about the porn, it's a disaster for both girls and boys, mostly teenagers and older. The girls, I don't know, do they think that they have to behave like that, you know? And then the fellas expect the girls to behave like that.
Yeah.
Let's be honest about it. A lot of it is far-fetched, what's going on in it, like, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Then as men get older, I mean, fellas can, and this might go back to the 18 to 30-year-olds that are sitting at home on their mother's couch, and do they use it as a substitution for the real thing?
Yeah.
You know, it's an addiction like smoking, drugs, whatever. And are they happy out with their porn rather than going out and actually meeting them? Mm-hmm. You know, it can be used as a substitute for the real thing. You know?
Yeah.
But I think it's a disaster for society, more especially on teenagers growing up in that.
Yeah. Reminds me of the whole thing of the metaverse. You know, it's like, as you said, they're using it as a substitute for the real thing. Same thing now with the whole thing of the metaverse coming in. Real life is going to be used as a substitute for the metaverse. Or the metaverse is going to be used as a substitute, for real life. We're going to get so miserable and unhappy in real life that we're going to go online instead. Which porn is a means of escapism, but it's an unhealthy means of escapism. Metaverse, PlayStation games, video games, this is all unhealthy means of escapism, and this is just destroying people's minds again. And like we're going to be looking for other ways and means to satisfy ourselves in ways that is not actually long-term fulfillment. It's not one bit long-term fulfilling to do these things.
Another thing I wanted to mention about like when we going back to the energies, like I don't know how about you guys, and I believe you can like kind of sense it. I think like if the person have like really good and proper energy, like feminine energy or masculine energy, like I noticed many times, like for example, like the difference between like half naked Nicki Minaj style girl walking into the pub, like all the young guys like, oh my gosh, she's so amazing, wow, because they are brainwashed to believe that's the standard and that's
beauty today.
For example, me, I'm still that old-fashioned person. I can sense the person who is coming in. If I see the girl coming into the pub, she's not dressed anything like that, but like if she is real feminine girl, it's just like he gets your attention. You don't know why, but you just like what it is about her, and he just comes in with like long dress with the like black with white dots or something from 50s or something, and you are like just blown away, like, and you don't know from what, because like she is not the pretty by the standards or anything. And the same with the guys. I just feel like I have to turn around, and I turn around, and there is it's not like young guy 30 years old with six-pack or whatever, those, as you Miko mentioned, with the perfect hair or whatever. It's like 60 years old guy, really gray, but it's just like he comes in and he owns the room.
Yeah.
Without saying anything. And that's where I'm so pissed off with, obviously with many things, but how media tricked people to believe that alpha male is actually macho, very rude, aggressive, and loud and stuff like that. No, it's an energy. Alpha male is not the male who comes in and says like, hey guys, I'm here, I'm the alpha, I'm going to take over the party. No, he just comes in and like the energy comes with him, and everybody understands, who can understand still, who are not bio robots yet, that that's real men, that's masculine energy, which everybody can feel if you have it.
Yes.
And that's lost, as you Eva mentioned, because of all the gadgets and everything. People losing their senses, they have no intuition, they can't receive those energies to understand who is who. They can judge people only as by how their appearance, not by their energies.
Absolutely. So yesterday I had a conversation face-to-face with a male, and we had a conversation about the fact that he's very masculine in many ways, and I would say in like healthy ways, but then there was one point about him which was very unhealthy masculine behavior, and this was that he doesn't communicate until he reacts, and he uses physical action to react to things because he doesn't see why he should waste his energy on communicating. So he has had lots of physical fights on streets with people for the most reasons that me and you and all of us would think is small. Like, why would you bother even like hitting someone over that? Just be the bigger person, walk away from the situation, and don't engage with them unless they come for you physically. Then self-defense, I understand. With this guy, if anyone just said something to him that he just didn't like, he would be willing to fight them physically. And I was trying to explain to him, this is very emotionally weak masculine behavior. You know, you pick and choose your battles wisely, and this is something you're just wasting time. You could end up in prison when you could be really with your family or who knows what. So he was listening to me when I was explaining this, but he was like not willing to I suppose, change his ways for now. But I hope that with time he will think about what I was saying. I was explaining to him this is emotionally weak behavior, and this means that you are emotionally weak in this way if you resort to violence for something small. I understand using violence in the realm of self-defense or protecting someone else physically. I understand use violence. If you're protecting yourself, use violence. If someone's coming for you, of course you have to act back. But other than that, why bother? It's pointless, wasted energy. What is the point? And he, like, one guy could just turn around and say to him, I don't like your talk. And instead of saying, okay, man, whatever, he would turn around and punch him. And it's like, and he could kill him. This thing I was explaining, that one hit could actually kill the guy. And you could end up in prison for that you just see red for a second and you're in prison. And I said, if you are like that with a man, who's to say you're not going to be like that with a woman or with a child? And when I was explaining this to him, he kind of was like, you could be right. Because he was explaining to me that when he's mad, he cannot control himself and all he sees is red. And I said, well, if you're like that now, well, who's to say that you're not going to be like that with women and children as well? A real strong man knows how to control himself emotionally and knows how to control his anger and his physical behavior. A real healthy man.
That's where we're going back to the twisted understanding of who is masculine and alpha male. It's just twisted to being like rude macho.
Absolutely, yeah. Because I know that, we will have a lot of modern day feminists who will maybe open up this chat and be like, oh no, these women are like totally, they're giving men like the rise of misogyny and like the patriarchy as they call it. No, we do not agree with violence against women at all. And we do not agree with women being violent against men either. It's wrong. It is weak behavior on both sides of both sexes. And that's it.
Yeah, and I would like you to go back now, like, let's touch another subject, which is about how the men are feminized. About the, I know if you have some subject on that of your researches.
Yeah. So, okay, so we already touched on a lot of that already. And one of the other areas that we forgot to touch on is food, is how many hormones today are present in food. Chemicals. You have chemicals in food today that was never there before. And it's altering different activity in the brain. It's causing so many problems in your body today. You have hormones left, right and center. Hormone altering things in food, medicine. What else was I writing down? There's food, medicine, personal care products, etc. So yeah, in personal care products, there's so many things. Like I don't want to even bring up this what I saw a couple of years back, but I have to because it's one of my references. I watched this declassified, I think it was a declassified video. It was going around and I got sent this video and it was like officials, government insider officials who came out and were saying that the government had this kind of technology that they were able to use to I don't even want to say it because I'm going to get so much backlash for it.
Okay. Come on, go on, girl.
Okay, basically, first of all, they start off with explaining there is this one particular chemical in soap, right? We all wash our hands with soap, okay? Because this stuff is in everyday products, everything that we use every day. So this one chemical is in soaps, and when your skin is your largest organ on the body, so whatever you put on the skin gets absorbed straight away into the bloodstream, okay? So there was this one chemical found in soap that when it goes into the bloodstream, it goes into your body, it causes all this like kind of change in the body, and it can actually somehow lead to a rise of homosexual behavior. So this is a big conspiracy, and I actually have that video. I need to source it. It's very interesting. And then they went on to speaking about how, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being homosexual, by the way. I'm not saying anything wrong with that, right? Because this is found in nature as well. I'm just saying that they are able to manipulate people how they wish through food, medicine, personal care products. Today, they have the technology to do that, and they were also using apparently these bombs that you could put on people and it would make them act out in homosexual ways. I don't even know. These are apparently weapons. They are bombs, actual bombs, and if you throw it into some area and it's left off, whatever is in that bomb, whatever happens, I don't know if it's gas or what it is, but if it goes into you or somehow around you, and if you smell it or inhale it, it goes in and it has all these things that change something in your body, and it changes something in the brain, and it can turn you a certain way. But I have to find that video. I mean, this is very far-fetched things, and I can understand that anyone listening to this is going to think this is so far-fetched and insane and crazy. And what does this girl talk about? She's insane. Like, it was just something I came across and I found very interesting. But I myself, from my background in natural health, I know myself that there is chemicals in food, there is chemicals in personal care products, in medicine, pharmaceutical medicine, and I know firsthand how that is affecting your hormones and your body, also your mind. It's affecting everything. I developed an autoimmune disease there a couple of years ago, and I healed it naturally through my diet, and it was a build-up of so many different toxins that were in my environment, and it was affecting so many different parts of my health, you know. But like, there's just so much going on that we need to wake up more to still. It's a big subject. But the personal care products, read your ingredients, read the ingredients, start researching what they are, the amount of chemicals in that thing, and start researching the side effects of these chemicals, the side effects of these ingredients in food, side effects of this ingredient in your medicine. You will start to see they can alter your hormones, they can change genetic makeup, they can alter brain reactions, or brain makeup, anything. Like, just research everything we're saying. Please research it, because there is truth to what we are saying. Just go deeper, research. It's all there for you everywhere. We're just not researching. We're not using our brains anymore to educate ourselves. We're just learning what we learn in school, what the media is telling us, and off we go. We're not actually reading books anymore. We're not actually delving down and doing our own personal research to learn things anymore. We're just being told what to know, what to research, what to learn by the schools and the media, and that's it. We're no longer actually going out of our own way to learn and research things ourselves, and this is the problem.
Michał, you have something to add to this?
Well, I suppose what sticks out there is what you just said there at the end is people can't think for themselves anymore.
No.
And the diets, I agree with you completely. Again, I would know nothing about the subject, but I know that the big food companies are doing their best with artificial ingredients to kind of create this false, we'll just say, meat for your dinner. That instead of killing cattle, they're going to have this artificial meat that we eat. It's made up of ingredients, but it's not real meat, and that would affect people, of course. There's definitely something big going on there, but it's outside of my grasp.
Yeah, I believe actually, Michał, on what you said, we could go on and on, I believe, for all night, because they're pushing the veganism and stuff like that. It's absolutely unnatural.
Yeah.
Man needs protein, they need blood, they need proper meat. You can't get any masculine energies or wherever if you are eating just vegetables. You are not sheep who eats just grass and produce the milk like cows or whatever. Like, the man needs protein, and that's absolutely twisted so badly to bring people to believing in that you can survive. You can survive on the vegetables, but for how long, and what's your energy is going to be, and how you going to be acting like a human being, because human beings from the very beginning was hunters, not the vegetable growers. We don't find the ancient gardens or tunnels. We finding the axes and the bullets with which they was killing the animals to survive and provide themselves.
Yeah. And just to give an example of the food you're talking about there today, compared to 30, 40, if you look at pictures of you could look at pictures of men on a sports field 40 years ago, or men on a building site 40 years ago, and look at the men today. The men today are very they're a lot bigger, we say, than the men years ago, because the diet, there's a lot of rubbish in the food, you know. It's just all artificial.
When you say they're a lot bigger, do you mean fatter?
Yeah, heavier, yeah.
Okay, yeah, in an unhealthy way is what you mean. Like they have more body fat, where they're it's like they have more body fat versus muscle.
Correct. Yeah.
Yes, I noticed that too. It's the same in women though. It's the same. It's
yeah, myself included.
Overall today.
It's down to the diet, we'll say.
Yeah.
You know, years ago you were putting meat into sandwiches. Now you're getting these slices of ham or whatever, but they're I'd say they're 70% water and chemicals. I don't know what's
Yeah. It's causing a lot of inflammation in the body, and it's showing. It's really showing. But I want to add, like, I have nothing against veganism. I myself follow mostly vegan diet, and I personally, like, I'm naturally quite strong as a woman, and growing up, we actually just mostly ate fish in my family. We weren't massive. I was never a massive meat eater, and I've done a lot of research into that as well. And I actually think a lot of that might depend on people's blood type, or I think a lot of it depends on how you grew up as well. But like, I actually don't believe that people today need to eat meat, or in the ways that they think they need to eat meat. Like, I just think that it's healthier sometimes. I think, first of all, we overeat today. We eat too much of everything. We need to relax, we need to eat less, and we need to give our bodies rest. Time to rest, time to rejuvenate, kind of give itself a blank canvas and actually detox. If you keep eating, you can't do that. And you know what? Meat is very heavy on the body. Like, if you go back to hunter-gatherer times, I mean, like, they would have, what, one portion of meat a day. Today, it's meat, breakfast, lunch, dinner. Like, it's too much. It's like, as you said, Michal, like, what is meat today? It's like, unless you're getting it from your own garden and you're sourcing it yourself, what are you even buying today? Is it even meat? Probably not. Like, you have no idea what you're eating. Like, I just think the more we stay away from it, the better. But I completely see there is an agenda behind making vegan, like, meat products. And they're full of, like, soya, which, as we know, soya has high levels of estrogen, which is the female hormone. And guys today who are vegan are eating a lot of soya products, and this is also an agenda to make men more feminine. And they are growing things like man boobs. They are becoming more like feminized in different ways, and that's because of soya is in everything today, and that's done on purpose also. Soya is found in everything, and most of the population of soya is genetically modified. So we are in big problems with that. But I see that there is an agenda behind that. But personally, for myself, I feel so much more healthier when I eat actually vegan. I see so many health benefits when I personally eat vegan. I think everyone's body is different, and I think that we all need to try different things to see. But I think if you eat vegan, you better make sure, if you're buying some product, a product that's ready made and it's a vegan product, you better read those ingredients, because I mean, the amount of rubbish they're putting into a lot of those products, even gluten-free products today. I mean, how many people are gluten intolerant, lactose intolerant, they don't eat meat, whatever. The products they are making and the ingredients they're putting in is disgraceful, and they're marketing it as healthy. It's not healthy, you know?
Yeah, I agree. That's the problem. It's what they're putting into the food, into the ingredients.
Yeah.
If you want to eat meat every day, or you want to eat fish every day, or you want to eat carrots all day every day, that's fine, you know, do whatever suits.
Yeah.
But there should be the right carrots in the shelf, and it should be the right meat on the shelf, you know?
Yeah,
and it should be the right fish on the shelf, you know?
Definitely.
That's the point.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. I believe we have to some kind of finish today before we end up in the morning. Yeah, I believe we're going to do follow-up chats and stuff like that. I just want to finish with, like, it's all like we was talking about, oh my god, it's so bad, it's all is fucked up. Like, let's finish with giving some tips how to be more feminine for the girls, how to raise your girl more feminine, how to raise your son more masculine. Just some tips which you would never hear on the mass media, obviously. Just to finish on the nice note.
Okay.
Aoife, I know you are already doing the dance classes for the head parties and stuff like that. So yeah, just give girls some tips how to be more feminine, to be more attractive, not even more attractive, but like to keep that feminine energy in you, even like if you don't know how to. So it's just simple, like some tips.
So for a woman, connecting with your emotions is so important. Not running or hiding from them, but like actually connecting with your emotions and feeling everything. That's really important. Like as women, we need to feel, like we need to allow ourselves to feel things, you know? And we shouldn't be afraid to hide it or to, you know, like act tough. Acting tough is like you're completely going the opposite direction of allowing yourself to be feminine. It's allowing yourself to be free with your emotions. Also, what's really important is connecting with your body, because women are really connected with their bodies. Like we express ourselves, we show ourselves with our bodies, how we move, you know, it's very important. I mean, we give life with our body. Like our bodies, we need to really connect with, I mean, there's a lot of, in the feminine movement, there's a lot of people talk about connecting with your womb, because it's like the life force of the woman is the womb. So that could be one side that you could do. I think as well, like, it's not how you look, it's a mindset. Being feminine is not just, it's not really about how you look, it's more about your mind. Like, and I think when your mindset changes, then maybe how you might start to dress or act or something might change. But that's not important. The most important thing is your mind, it's rejuvenation of the mind. You need to allow yourself to feel your emotions, and you need to like allow yourself to be a woman and not run away and hide from it and not feel ashamed to be a woman. And we need to stop trying to be men. We need to stop trying to take on men characteristics and counterparts and behaviors. It's just not going to work. We are women, and we should be so happy that we're women. Women are amazing. Men are amazing, and we're different for a reason, and we should celebrate that, and we should really tap into that. So movement is very important. Women are very good for expressing themselves creatively. So a great way for a woman to increase her feminine energy is through art, singing, music, dancing. You could say her sexual energy. So if she's with someone, like women are just very in their emotions and they're in their bodies, you know. So women need to really connect with being with their emotions more, with their bodies. And I think what's really important for women is sisterhood, like connecting with other women. Connecting with other women is really important. You can't do it on your own. You really need to find women who you feel will bring out that feminine energy in you as well and help you to connect with it more, and who you can connect with and feel safe around as well. And women shouldn't be afraid to be vulnerable. There's great strength in being soft and being vulnerable, and, you know, having supportive people around you who allow you to express yourself in that way is very important. And then if we want to say how to raise your daughters more feminine, I actually think what's really important first of all is, okay, if you're a single parent, this is hard, because as a woman, I have to take on a role of mom and dad. And if you're a single dad, you have to take on a role as mom and dad also. And this is hard because your child, whether they're male or female, are going to see you adapting to two different like sex roles. And it's going to be confusing for them, I think, in a way, and it can give them, like, they think then they have to act like man and woman also. That's why it's so important that we have a healthy male and female leader in a family unit that will show men and women, you know, it will just show them the right balance. But as a woman, what can you teach your daughter to be more feminine? Like, again, what I just mentioned, being creative, connecting with yourself, your mind, body, soul, like learning manners, learning to be like a lady. This is so important. Expressing yourself creatively, getting into art classes, you know, dancing, perform, act, whatever it is. Have good supportive female friends around you, and get out into nature. All the answers are in nature. Nature is everything. Nature is the very essence of a woman. Mother Nature, Mother Earth, whatever, you know. Like, women create, nature creates. I think that's a very feminine energy. Nature has very feminine energies as well in it, so that's really important.
Michal, give some tips and advices for the fathers how to make sure that your son is getting enough influence of you as a father, as a masculine man.
Yeah, I suppose to keep it simple, you have to, as a father or parent, lead by example. You have to, you know, you have to give the child a lawnmower and let him cut the grass. Give him the step ladder, let him change the bulb. Let him see you holding. No, I don't know. This can be dangerous nowadays. But I'd often hold the door open if there was somebody coming into a shop behind me. It might be a man, it might be a woman, but you just hold the door open, you know?
Yeah.
Small things like that he sees. You know, it could be an old woman coming out with a bag of shop and you hold the door open for 20 seconds. Little things like that. You have to lead by example.
Yeah.
Is the way I would be putting it.
Yeah. Dead right.
I will just like kind of add from myself, like as a short, let's say, I don't know how to say it, but anyway, so yeah, girls should be dancing, wearing the skirts, put your flower in your hair. Guys should be learning from the father how to drill the hole in the wall, how to hold the tools, or even just like nowadays they don't know the names of the tools. Just teach your kid from when he's very small, little.
Yeah.
4, 5 years, 6 years old. They are so curious minds. They want to know everything. When you even feel like, oh, that's not interesting for him, like I'm changing oil on my bike or something. No, it's interesting for him. He soaks it in and he knows like this tool's name, even if you just ask like, please hand me like hammer.
Yeah.
There's many guys who doesn't even know what is hammer, because like it's all made so convenient for the 21st generation, 21st century people. Like you just call somebody like handyman, plumber, electrician, and they're going to do a job for you. No, you have to make sure that you forward your knowledge so they know at least something like the basics. So it's not like, for example, like the girl from different family, she knows how to do the how to drill the hole, or how to fix the bulb, or change the bulb, or something. It's man's responsibility to take care of all those things, so it's very important.
Sorry to cut in. You also have to let them make the mistake.
Yes.
No, let them drill the hole in the wrong place, or put the bulb in wrong and smash the bulb. You have to be, whether it's a boy or a girl, they have to make mistakes. They're not going to learn otherwise.
Yeah.
And another big thing I think with young fellas nowadays with the internet, they really have to learn from their fathers about respecting women. You know, we discussed all that porn and all that earlier. Right?
Yeah.
They really have to learn that that's the difference between the real world and this fantasy world. Right?
Yes.
And when I'm even saying respecting women as in opening the door. in the local shop to let the woman out or in, or man. They have to learn all that as well, you know.
Yeah, and I believe we are the last generation who can teach them that, because
Yes.
like if we don't teach our kids, they're not going to know that, and next generation not going to have any of knowledge what we have. I know, like I'm not trying to make or
No, you're right.
My dog gave me a fright, sorry.
I know, yeah, but it's true, yeah, because those who are 25 years old, they already, if we don't teach them how to behave and what to do, they're not going to be able to forward it to their kids, and that's it. All our knowledge is lost.
Knowledge is gone, yeah.
Sad, but yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
So, okay, guys, let's finish on this awesome, uplifting note. I would say we are.
I have my notes ready for part 2.
We're going to have part 2 and 3, I believe, because I think it is very important subject, and I haven't seen many people bringing it up at all.
No.
All I can see is bringing up, now it's the new thing, for example, financial abuse or something like that. I was actually listening it, and it was 3 nights in a row on Matt Cooper's show, and I was just listening all that bullshit. Oh my god, my husband does this and this and this and this. So we're not going to go through this maybe on the next time, but like all I can say sometimes is just like tough shit. You choose wrong man. That's kind of. Anyways, so let's finish on this nice note. Thank you very much for joining me, Aoife.
You.
And Miho. And yeah, thanks for watching. Don't forget, thumbs up, and see you very soon, my friend.
Okay, thanks for having me.
Bye, guys.
Okay, bye.